What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the latest edition of the Burgundy Brigade podcast. I am your host, Kevin Goff, at BRG Brigade. Kevin is where you can find me on the Twitter. We also, of course, have the Burgundy Brigade Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Burgundy Brigade. And you can find us on Podbean. The title, of course, is the Burgundy Brigade podcast. Search us there, and you will find us. Of course, we're also on iTunes, where you can subscribe to this fantastic podcast and of course, sign up to get all of our new content downloaded automatically to whatever device you use to listen to your podcast. So hopefully you take the time to go ahead and do that as well. I am joined, as usual, by the man, the myth, the legend, the Aaron Music. Aaron, how's it going?
Well, it's going better since you introduced me like that. Why didn't you do that to begin with? Why is this just now that you're introducing me like that?
I'm feeling in a very giving mood today. What can I say? It's had a lovely day with the family out at a pumpkin patch out here in Oregon, and had quite a nice day.
It's made you nicer than you were in Colorado.
I guess so, right? I guess so. Stuff that maybe I've been wrong this whole time about Colorado. I don't know.
Maybe we need to actually investigate this a little bit.
Well, I know there's a lot more oxygen out here. That is one thing that is definitely noticeable. I mean, whenever
all the trees there,
all the trees. Sea level, of course, helps with that. And every time I do any type of physical exercise, I just sit there and just breathe and go, oh man. Feel that in the lungs. It's just a good thing. I enjoy it very, very much.
Well, we're all a little jealous. I think Colorado is moving out there as we speak.
Yeah, it seems that way. Lots of people. I'm hearing. So we have a bunch of neighbors who in our neighborhood who are from Colorado, and I keep hearing all these other teachers at various schools within the district and beyond my district that I'm teaching in. Say, oh man, we have all these Colorado teachers moving in here. So yeah, we're taking over Oregon.
See, I have a friend who's moving out there in a couple months. She's like, yeah, I just couldn't take Colorado. It was getting too busy. I was like, are you kidding? Oregon is like Colorado 3 years ago. And she was like, really? Crap.
Yeah, it'll get there for sure. But we'll put all the Oregon talk on the back burner here. We're here to talk about your 4-1 Colorado Avalanche. Now, of course, as we are podcasting, the Avalanche are just about to drop the puck with the Dallas Stars on the second half of their back-to-back after just running Boston and Anaheim directly out of Pepsi Center from start to finish. I mean, there were little stretches of both games where the Bruins and the Ducks had little pushes, and they got some goals. Obviously, Boston pulled from 4-1 to 4-3 for a little bit before Colorado put the clamps on and ran away with it again at the end. And really, Anaheim had that shorthanded goal, and that was about it as far as positive offensive productivity. And the Avs had 2 disallowed goals. Before finally getting that power play goal from Tyson Barrie, the second power play goal of the game, and then the empty netter from Nikita Zadorov to do something the Avs didn't do at all last year, which is win 3 games in a row. So hey, we've already got that as an improvement. So I mean, just right off the top here, Aaron, how are you feeling about this team right now?
I don't know if they're going to continue to be this good, winning-wise, but they're certainly much more fun to watch. And specifically, it's much more fun to watch them on defense, where they actually have speed to skate with people and transition, and they're out shooting opponents and out opportunitying them. I don't know if that's a real word, but I'm going with it.
I'll go with you. I'm good.
And it's a complete 180. And I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
I thought they would be better. I didn't think they would look as good as they have now. They have some players playing for them that are playing meaningful minutes that I didn't think they'd be as good as they are. Specifically Nail Yakupov and Alexander Kerfoot.
Yeah.
Both of those guys have really brought life back to one of our favorite players. I'm excited to see where this goes.
I mean, it's all smiles for Avalanche fans right now. It's hard to look at. I mean, you can look at the Rangers game and go, well, they were a bit opportunistic there, and yes, they were, and they kind of got the benefit of a really excellent performance from Semyon Varlamov in that opener. And
in that sense, wasn't it just good to see Semyon Varlamov lock down a game and steal it?
Absolutely. And then they hit a hot Devils team who was just jumping on their opening night, their home opener.
Yeah.
And even within that game, even the second period was pretty much all Avalanche until they got that power play goal that put them back up by 2. The Avs were down 2 coming into the period. I mean, were really owned most of the tempo, had that power play goal from Soderberg, and then suddenly they were there, and then just, as I recall, it was a pretty stupid it was kind of one of those little softies that got called that ends up in the back of the net, and that was pretty much the game. And then Boston, they beat them pretty handily in Boston, then Boston and Denver, they just smacked them, and then Anaheim.
That game in Boston is the best wire-to-wire game I've seen the Avalanche play since Joe Sakic was on the team.
Yeah, it has been that long, hasn't it?
Well, they did every facet of the game perfectly, and they killed the opponent. Yeah. I mean, the opponent didn't have a single chance. I don't care that that's a 3-1 game. Boston was never in that game.
Yeah. That was a 4-0 game, wasn't it? In Boston, that was a.
I thought that was a 3-1 game.
That Varley shut him out. I'm pretty sure.
Games together. Now.
It's possible. But I just I think we're all on the same page in that we don't necessarily expect the Avs to go through every 5-game stretch 4-1, but just from a sheer standpoint of, oh my gosh, this team should be in pretty much every game they play this year. That's already a huge step forward.
It's been a lot of fun to watch them. I'll say that much.
Definitely. So what I mean,
yes, it was a 4-0 game. I was totally on the opposite wavelength.
No worries. No worries.
But that wire to wire, that game was just incredible.
So what are some of the biggest things that you've noticed that's just different about this team this year?
Passing.
Passing is a huge one.
Skating.
Mm-hmm.
And their aggressive pursuit of the puck, which has led to a lot of turnovers, which allows them to use their speed to counterattack.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of players, JT Comfort, Tyson Jost, Kerfoot, that have already announced, Nail Yakupov, Sven Andrighetto. They're all smaller guys that really have excellent stick work. Chris Biegra, where they create turnovers and get the puck moving the other way, so the Avs aren't just trapped in the zone for 1-2 minutes at a time.
The obvious ones you mentioned, passing is such a difference this year. The skating, very much. There's no one just gliding. Everyone's feet and legs are moving and churning every time whenever they're on the ice. And other things to put in, the power play. Oh my goodness, the power play. It actually is an advantage so far this year, even though the Avs had kind of took a while to a couple games to get the results, to get the puck in the net. The power play had been effective. They were possessing the puck. They were moving the puck. They were not doing the same thing every single time. They were actually adjusting from moment to moment on the power play, and they've been getting opportunities. It's not just do little thing here, take one random shot, have it blocked, have it cleared. I mean, they're changing, they're different. It's night and day from a season ago.
They've been really good about having almost set plays, but not relying on them.
Mm-hmm.
Like that set play that they scored the first power play goal on, which was McKinnon to Rantanen. They did that in the preseason a lot.
Yes.
And it's, it was effective that teams now put someone right in the middle of the ice so that they can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes back to passing, but they're moving the puck around a really good amount, and it's very crisp. But they, at least on each power play unit, on the first one it's Andrew Ghetto, on the second one it's Nail Yakupov. They have a guy that they're like, this is too many passes, I'm just going to shoot.
Yes. Especially that game against Boston in Denver. Oh my goodness, Nail Yakupov. That guy just wants to shoot. And I said that on Twitter, and people were like, well, we've needed that. And I'm sitting there going, I'm not complaining at all. Yeah. We're absolutely right. The Avalanche have needed that guy who will just shoot the puck.
Mm-hmm. And now they have one on at least 2 lines, maybe 3. I like the way Comfort decides to shoot.
Yeah. It's the Avalanche. We're trying not to get too excited too early here, but it's hard to look at this team and not just go, my God, what a difference from a season ago.
Yes. Time will tell if they are able to stay in the playoff hunt and be this good, but teams are surprised.
Yeah.
And when the Avs are really good, specifically at home, they'd skate, and by the time the third period hit, the other opposing team had dead legs.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what the Avs, at least the first 2 home games, that's what they did.
Yeah. And and that doesn't even necessarily
of the Boston game in the third period.
Yeah. And that doesn't even necessarily have anything to do with the fact that it's at altitude in Denver. That's just a team who's skating the living daylights off you, and you just
altitude's just an X factor.
Exactly, and that'll happen at sea level or anywhere if you've got a team that's just constantly pushing you back on your heels and you're reacting instead of initiating the play. You're going to get tired. You're going to be more tired. You're not going to be able to your stamina is going to wear out.
Mm-hmm. And the smartest. I thought it was always incredibly stupid. There is only one place in the National Hockey League that has the altitude the Avs do. Maybe 2. I'm not sure about Calgary.
Yeah, I think Calgary might have a little bit of it. Yeah.
To specifically have a system that slows the game down. That decides to take things slow and measured with bigger players, and that I never understood. And now it seems it's wonderful that they're actually getting back to a speed game.
Yeah.
Quickness. Skill.
And it's interesting because
put that on display.
Yeah, it's interesting because I've been listening to a couple different podcasts here and there, and I've heard some of them trying to temper expectations by saying things like, well, Patrick Waugh was a guy who said that he was all about speed and offense, and to a point that's true. I'd say that was true about how he wanted his forwards to be, but not the whole team, because you would have to. You just look at the players that would play on defense, and you've got guys that were like Nick Holden, Nate Gennin, Francois Beauchemin, all these big lumbering old school stay at home defensemen that could not really skate for squat, and we're basically asking. In turn, it created a huge gap between your forwards and your defense. Yeah, and now we're looking more at a team that's got these guys, and what a pleasant surprise Nemeth has been. Yes. He's a big guy, but he can stick with the play, and you've got a lineup of defensemen who are not lagging behind the forwards. They're actually able to come into the offensive zone and to be support and to create that fourth guy on a 3-man rush, on what would otherwise be a 3-man rush, which just makes it that much more dangerous. It's just so nice to see. I'm just so happy. And I just like having an entertaining team to watch. Yeah. It is pleasant for sure. So let's see. We're kind of
I like that the coach is going to make them skate.
Yes. God, yes.
If you didn't, I feel like Bednar is going to be one of those guys. If you didn't skate today, you're going to skate tomorrow. Which would you like?
Yeah. So I mean, we're kind of winging the format here a little bit. So we're going to kind of we'll kind of go back and forth a little bit on and sort of take where things wander. So let's talk specific. Let's talk now specific players. Let's see who has surprised you.
Patrick Nemeth.
Yeah,
I thought he was going to be a terrible pickup, but he reminds me a lot of Carlos Srestich. Actually, gets in the way, but does it in such a way that he's not in the way.
Nemeth is
sorry,
20.
Dallas just nearly scored on a chance. That's why I caught there.
No worries. Nemeth is 25, so a young guy still, coming into the prime of his career, 6'3", 220, and so he's got good size, and he seems to have really worked very well with Tyson Barrie.
He essentially lets Tyson Barrie do his own thing.
And that's kind of
which is good because Tyson Barrie on his own is not great.
Yeah. And, let's be honest, Tyson Barrie's going to do his thing whether or not he's got the partner that can let him do his own thing. He's just going to do it.
Yeah.
And, for better or worse, that's going to be what he does. And it's nice remember Boschman was supposed to be a solution to that, and then Gennin was supposed to somehow be a solution to that. But again, that comes back to that whole, it's just guys that can keep up.
If you look at I listed that off to you, the graveyard of defensemen that have put on the sweater for the Avs the past 4 years. I mean, Holland, Gennin, Boschman, Teuton, Wirkosh didn't look great.
Yep.
So many of these defensemen, you list them off and you go, oh, we really were that bad.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it almost, I'm hoping that this particular preseason and so far these 5-6 games by the end of the day today will kind of have softened a little people who were so very high on that get rid of Bednar train, because I mean, there had to have been something said for the fact that the guy did not get the summer to come in and shape the team that he wanted. The Avalanche shaped a team expecting with Patrick Waugh expecting to be the coach. And then Patrick Waugh said, peace. And everyone went, oh, crap, well, now what? And Bednar came in and really just had to deal with what was there. And obviously it didn't go well. And there are certainly, you could certainly say that there are things he probably could have handled better, like not healthy scratching Boschman ever.
He even admits that.
Yeah. And I'm glad, and it's good that he
there were things that he should have done differently.
Sure. But now we're starting to, we've had this summer where the Avalanche have had, okay, so this is this type of thing we want to do with this team now. Let's get the players to make it happen. And it's looking like it's going in a direction that we should be pleased with.
And you saw elements of the system, especially early last year, and those elements were betrayed by a defense that wouldn't work with it. There was no way.
Yeah.
And it's just a night and day difference. The other thing that's different, and I wanted to touch on this anyway, leadership.
Yeah.
So when the Avs went to the playoffs in 2013, they then got some veteran presence guys that were on the end of their career to help guide the younger players. Well, now those players are gone, and who's your veterans? Matt Duchene, Eric Johnson, Gabe Landeskog. Your younger, now prime-aged guys are now your leaders.
Yep.
That's your leadership core. And specifically, Eric Johnson impressed me this offseason. He just said, this isn't good enough. this isn't going to happen again. Either get on board or get out of town.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was reading stories. He kept coming back from California to Colorado for a bunch of younger kids who were here, who were playing, who were training for the off season. He was there helping them train.
Yep.
And that's leadership. He's now got a letter on his chest full time,
yep.
which he should have had last year because Francois Beauchemin didn't deserve to have it.
No.
And Landeskog has also stepped up and become a better vocal leader. Tyson Berry's, at least I've heard good things from him. Nathan McKinnon stepped up as well, and so has Matt Duchene. Once Duchene could ignore the select people in the media and actually get to work, he was just fine.
Mm-hmm.
And that drama that was around him was actually mostly media manufactured.
Yeah.
And it's the clear case of something of there wasn't anything to it. Yeah, where there's smoke, there's fire, but this was just steam.
Yeah.
So just shut up.
I agree completely.
And stop taking every quote out of context and making it bigger than it seems to be.
Right.
And letting the guy who's, I think, if not, he's one of your highest point total guys in the beginning of the season.
Yeah,
let
he's
him be
second
your
in
guy.
scoring right now, yep. Second on the team in scoring. Andrew Ghetto jumped over both him and Yakupov yesterday with his two two assists.
Yep. And they gave him 2 line mates that actually make him better.
Mm-hmm.
Kerfoot is the best thing to happen to Matt Duchene since he nailed Yakupov.
Yeah. Yeah,
Kerfoot makes a lot of really understated plays. Really,
mm-hmm. He's probably the guy that has surprised me the most. I would say, just because I mean, college free agents, right? What can you really expect from a lot of those guys? I mean, of course they're more mature than a lot of those high skilled 18-year-olds that are coming in. Because they've had 4 years to develop their games, to play, to gain experience in a very competitive setting, but at the same time, you just it's not really that. College hockey it plays half the amount of time junior hockey does, so you don't really know exactly what the competition level's like for them, and so a lot of the time, even if they have quite a college resume, you just don't know what you're getting. And Kerfoot,
and especially for a college free agent,
yeah,
weren't able to watch him at all.
No,
like we could if he was a prospect.
Yeah, absolutely. You're just guessing with
it wouldn't be like if he was a prospect, it would have been like, oh, tune in, watch this guy.
Totally.
That doesn't happen.
And I mean, he has stepped in, and that guy is so slick. He does these little things that you just sit there. Especially one of the things I noticed about him most is when he gains possession of the puck in the defensive zone. He doesn't just look to throw the puck out. He gains possession. He is so aware of everything around him. Waits until there's a forecheck. He's so good at that. Like he lures a forechecker, makes a little move, and springs somebody with a great tape to tape pass, and they're off and running, and offensive chances are coming.
And he really slows down that line, which is in a good way.
Yes, totally.
And that's something. The description I heard someone say about him, he's almost like an Alex Tanguay.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that line of Kerfoot, Duchene, Yakupov. It's my favorite line on the Avs. And that's saying something because I like McKinnon, Rantanen, and...
well, I'll tell you, there's a darn good reason for it to be your favorite line right now. I mean, coming into the game right now, do you have any idea what their Corsi 4 is?
It's right in the 60s, isn't it?
Matt Duchene has a 63.6 Corsi 4 percentage. That is insane. Nail Yakupov has a 63.5% Corsi for percentage. And where's Kerfoot? There's Kerfoot. Kerfoot has a 59.8% Corsi for percentage. So, I mean, if to try to, and I always I try to make sure I explain it right. The whole, if you're still not 100% sure on the whole Corsi thing, Corsi measures every type of shot that is directed at the net. Shots on goal, shots that miss the goal, and shots that are blocked. And the way they get the percentage is for people on the ice is they divide. It's some sort of percentage. The total number of Corsi events that happen. So both teams, and then they divide your Corsi events by the total events. And so if you're right down the middle, it's 50%. If you have exactly the same amount as for and against, it's 50%. So the fact that these guys are hovering at and above 60% means they have the puck and all the offense is happening when they are on the ice.
And that line, every piece complements one another. They're like Lego bricks. It doesn't matter how you put them together, they will lock together.
Yeah.
And it'll be painful for someone else to step on them.
Yeah. Ooh, Landy just got rocked. Here,
yes, he did.
Let me say this about Gabe Landeskog. Well, maybe it's not saying something so much as another asking thing. But just the way he has, I love him on a third line. I feel like that's kind of the perfect spot for him. He's not the high end skill.
Youngsters in a shutdown role.
Yeah,
that's just.
He's not a high end offensive guy. He can score, but he's not gonna do the special offensive things that you would expect from guys like Rantanen, McKinnon, Duchesne, Yakupov, etc. But he of course can put the puck in the net. He's responsible defensively, and he plays the grittier kind of grinding style game that is that you need in a third line player. I guess if it's kind of interesting to think of him that way after we've all basically seen him in nothing but a top six role since he got here. But it's like the perfect spot for him.
Zadorov got a penalty for being big.
I hate when that happens.
What a joke.
Seriously.
Guy's digging around at Varlamov, and suddenly he gets rocked, and... oh, Zadorov hits someone, he falls down, and Zadorov gets the penalty. Oh, and the guy gets up and throws a punch. That's not a penalty.
No. God, let's talk about... while we have a little segue here, let's talk about these new rules. Or not so much the rules, but the implementation. Oh my God, that's a penalty? Give me a break. These rules here.
Yeah, you mean the ones that apply to the Slashaheim Ducks?
Yes.
I'm okay with the slashing calls.
Well, I mean,
I think they need to dial it back a little bit.
Oh my God, do they ever?
There's so many times that players were just slashed on the hands, and you slash an even decent scorer on the hands. He's not a decent scorer. He's just a nice guy with a stick.
Right.
And so I'm okay cracking down on that. The new face-off penalty rule is about the dumbest rule I've ever seen in sports. And
again,
that's incredible because NHL has like 3 of the top 5.
Yeah. The NH that rule has actually been in the rule book for a very long time. It's just never been enforced.
It's like the trapezoid rule.
Yeah, and it's never one I understood having anyways because it's not like people. It's at that point you just need to drop the damn puck, ref. We don't need to have games changed on whether or not you thought a guy's stick was down too early. That's ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous.
Oh, and one more thing that they didn't change that should have changed. Review all pucks that go in the net.
Yes. Oh, God, yes.
Holy hell. Why is it the job of the opposing coach to say that was a bad call and challenge it and lose their timeout?
Yeah.
Challenge, Look at all scoring plays.
Absolutely.
See if it was a good call or not.
Whether or not the call on the ice was goal, if the puck is in the net, I agree, it needs to be reviewed.
And usually it's going to be, oh yeah, that's clean, fine.
Yep.
But like the goal that was called back by Kerfoot,
Yeah.
for what I am assuming having an enormous amount of BO next to the goaltender. Yeah. That's a goal, and the Avs had already challenged, so they couldn't challenge again.
Mm-hmm.
That is bad.
It's awful.
That is bad. It's a bad look for the league.
Mm-hmm.
It says our officials aren't great. Challenge us and make us better.
Yep.
It's back-ass words. And I'm tired of the NHL trying to admit, oh, our refs do an okay job, and not putting anything in place to help them do it better.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right.
The refs are human. They will make mistakes.
Absolutely.
Make it so that they can actually recover from them.
I mean, they always say that these things are the rules that are meant to brought in are meant to get for the purpose of getting it right. Yet at the same time, they make it so impossible to get it right.
Yeah. If you really wanted to get it right, then get it right.
Yeah.
Do whatever it takes.
Yeah. It's just silly.
If you don't do what it takes, then get the hell out.
Yeah.
I'm just still irritated by that.
I don't blame you. It's been, I mean, the NHL has always I have always kind of viewed the NHL officials as being probably the least consistent of any of the professional sports, of the
Before
big
this
sports.
year, I would have said yes, but the NFL has given them a run for their money.
They are, but at the same time, it's for the NFL. Basically, that boils down to, my gosh, well, what is a catch? And now, with the
that's exactly right.
For the NHL, it seems like, okay, well, what's an appropriate amount of slashing? It's not just what's an appropriate amount of goalie interference. There's varying levels on each of the penalties and each of the scoring plays about what will and won't be a goal or a penalty, and especially all that goes into not just the penalty itself, but time of year, time of game, time. I mean, it changes constantly.
It changes with the game script. Oh, is the team down?
Mm-hmm.
That's a penalty.
Oh, they just had three power plays. Well, we better work to even it out.
Mm-hmm. As my wife said, that's not right.
No.
Call the game as it is.
Exactly. I don't give a crap that your team feels like they haven't had enough power plays. Right? If you haven't earned them, you haven't earned them. And I know that, I mean, in the Avalanche for a long time, we were one of the least teams that had the least power plays in the league, and I know that drove a lot of the fans crazy.
Still with your stick up in the air, you're not going to get penalties. That's just the fact of the game.
Exactly.
And if you're going to manufacture penalties because you need to make it fair,
mm-hmm.
then you're actually doing a disservice to the teams that are doing well.
Yep, very much so.
So shut up, call the game as it is, and be consistent.
Agreed.
And then also be accountable. There's no
accountability. Yeah. For like in any of the leagues, there's nothing. They don't come out to answer anything from the media. They don't. Right. I think the NHL might be one of the more accountable in that sense because I've grown. I've been friends with people who are referees in lower leagues, who then of course know a bunch of people that referee in the NHL. And referees in the NHL get like game grades every night. They get video of calls they missed or shouldn't make or should have made after each game. Now, whether or not that. I think the real full accountability that comes with that is whether or not they're able to referee then into the playoffs, and I don't think that's enough, personally. So it's just it boggles my mind. I don't know what I really don't know what the NHL is trying to do with these. I get with the slashing thing because they don't want to have another one of those things where a guy's finger gets cut off or anything like that. But then, for God's sakes, there's plenty of slashing plays that you could call that's not like the one that Colin Wilson got called for. in I don't remember which game it was, but it was Boston at home, where he one hand half swings it towards a guy and it just sort of kind of taps to the stick near the hands, and he's off for 2 minutes, and then there's the puck in the net. Give me a break. There's no reason anywhere that should be a penalty. I don't know.
I'm looking on the bench, and Eric Johnson's flexing his hand like he just got slashed.
Yeah.
And they didn't call it.
Gotta love it.
So just some consistency, and give these refs. They're 4 guys on a 200 sheet of ice, looking at 10 other guys trying to see what happened.
Yep.
Help them out.
Yep. I think he blocked a shot with his hand.
Help them out.
Yeah. So let's get off the refs here for a sec. And we talked about guys that have been pleasant surprises. Is there anybody who has kind of disappointed you to this point?
Not Nieto.
Right.
But a guy that has surprised me by how well he's played, Carl Soderberg.
Yeah. I'll even give you Blake Como.
And he's playing well at it.
I'll even give you Blake Como with that one, too.
Yeah, both of those are doing pretty well. Tyson Berry's been a little uneven for me. He'll have his good stretches and bad stretches.
Yeah.
And you take the good with the bad with Tyson Berry, because he'll give up a 2-on-1, and then he'll also score a power play goal.
Yeah.
So,
and I mean that's kind of Tyson Berry. That's his game, right? He's occasionally he's not the best in front of his net, and still needs to occasionally remember, oh yeah, I can take away this guy's stick, right? and do that instead of standing and watching as he hacks the puck into the net. I guess if there were a guy, and there's been a lot of really good stuff that's gone on from the team. If I've been slightly underwhelmed by Nathan MacKinnon thus far. I don't think he's played badly by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, he's got 4 assists, but he is yet to find the net. And of course, one of the big things that everyone wants to see from him this year is they want him to be that guy who's going to come and score a bunch of goals for the team. And at this point, he's not quite doing it.
Well, when Sven's scoring as much as he has, you'll take the assist.
Again, I don't disagree.
For McKinnon, always takes a little while to get traction. He and Duchesne, usually it takes a while.
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with it taking a little bit of time. Not a whole lot of time, but I'm okay with it. For the time being, he's doing a lot of the other things right away from the puck.
Mm-hmm.
He just needs one to go in, and it'll start to happen for him.
Yeah,
he's had a couple of shots on a power play that I thought that were just great saves by a goaltender.
Yeah, and again, like I said, I don't think he's played badly. I just would like to see him start scoring. That's about
I
it.
agree with that, and he's about the only player on the Avs that hasn't started scoring. Before he got injured, I thought Tyson Jost looked a little uneven. He looked better when they moved him off the 4th line and onto the line with Landeskog and Comfort.
Yes, I like that setup for him much better than playing on the 4th line. I think Jost, Landeskog, and Comfort is quite the set.
Yeah, they'll all get under your skin and actually put up points as well.
Yep.
They're good defensively too. Their coverage in zone is actually really, really strong.
And it's interesting to think about those guys in that particular role. Their D zone starts are astronomical. Jost has 72.2% D zone starts. Landeskog has 82.4% D zone starts. Comfer has 87.1% D zone starts. That is an immense amount of trust being put in. And I mean, you expect that kind of trust to be able to be given to Gabe Landeskog. He's a vet. He's a good two-way player. You expect him to be able to handle that. But 2 rookies going in with that, with very, very little in the way of NHL experience. They both played NHL games last season, but they were both.
And those rookies are not your average rookies, though. They're both pretty darn smart.
They very much are. Absolutely.
This is the point at which I say I hate back-to-back games.
Oh, me too.
It is.
It's such an obvious disadvantage for the team that played the night before. I still don't understand why the NHL can't do a better job of matching teams on back-to-backs that both played the night before. Why is it that hard?
Extend the season by 2 weeks and get rid of them.
Right? I just don't understand what the change, why it's so difficult to schedule better than that.
And I'm sure people better than us have tried, but it's. I get it. I understand it. Just don't love it.
Yeah.
Basically, you ask your goaltender, be big.
Pretty much, right.
Which Varlamov thus far has been really huge.
Yeah, it's been pretty big for Dallas. The Avs have had some good stretches in this game, but again, Dallas is fresh.
Yep. Fresh at home.
Fresh at home. Didn't travel. Come on.
Hey, Minnesota Wild scored a goal. How about that?
It's a Christmas miracle. Oh man. I'd say I don't know. You got anything else to talk about?
The one thing that needs to improve before things go really downhill: penalty kill.
Yeah, and
it's better than it was when they started.
Yeah,
but it's still a bit of a tire fire.
Definitely, it's still teams, and you saw it with especially in the second Boston game. Boston's power play was very deliberate about trying to bring that bring a third player low to make it almost impossible for the other forward that's high in the defensive zone to go out and challenge, because otherwise you're leaving the slot wide open. And I feel like that's a disadvantage that this team has built into their penalty kill with the way it plays, is that I've never been a huge fan of that diamond personally, because it puts players in situations where they're 2 or 3 on 1 in not very good areas of the ice, and I've never been a huge fan of it.
And it's the one element that they've got some time coming up that they'll be able to work on special teams, just hone things a little bit better. I think they have I don't know what over the next 18 days, they only play 6 games or something.
Yeah. It's their first 6 games were pretty compact, but yeah, now they're going to get a few. They're going to get some good rest out here, and that's I think partially that's because they're going to have that trip out to Sweden here pretty soon.
Oh yeah, Sweden.
Yeah, sure, you betcha. Ferndi, bort.
It's just been fun to watch them again. I don't know how this is going to go, but I'm very excited by how it's going so far.
Absolutely. Well, let's see here. We do have a phone call from our guy Louie, and I listened to it last night, and he was feeling good. He was feeling very good.
He's a little bit toasty.
You a little bit toasty, a lot of bit toasty, I think. But yeah, I definitely want to give his a listen. And I got to say, earlier in the summer, there was right after I had moved, we had another guy call and left a message in the beginning of August, and we just hadn't had a time. We hadn't really podcast between then and now. So my apologies to you, Spencer, who listens out in California as well, for not getting your predictions of the thing on. And I did listen to your message, and I thank you for the welcomes to Oregon and all of that good stuff. He's also a Sharks fan, but also follows the Avalanche. So, Spencer, if you're listening and you want to give us another call, feel free. And again, my apologies for not getting a podcast up where we could really play your call. So here is Louie.
Gentlemen, Louie from Cali calling. Man, it feels good to be an Avs fan. When is the last time you guys have ever had the chance to say that in the recent past? This is just amazing, guys. Like, this team feels like the Patrick Waugh team that they had the first year, except they feel legitimate. It's not on smoke and mirrors. It is, I think, the genesis of a team that finally got some depth in the organization on forward and defense, and the goalies are just tearing it up. Varlamov is the Varley that we've seen before, and Bernier is a solid backup. I mean, it's super early in the season, but you can just see it. The way the boys are playing, it's good feelings all around. I mean, the only thing I am worried about, to be honest with you, is that this fucking Duchesne thing that Chambers keeps on harping on, because he doesn't have anything else to write about apparently. I mean, it's just hanging over the team's head, I guess. I don't know what the deal is with that. To be honest with you, my hope is that Joe Sakic can kiss some ass, which I know he won't do, but I would love to recommit to Matt Duchesne and say, you know what, I screwed up. You know what, no one gave me anything close to what you can offer this club, and we want to make you the guy going forward for the next 7 or 8 years. I would love that, to recommit to Matt Duchesne, give him a no-trade clause, and just, you know, hook him up. But that's not going to happen. And I guess it's just the whole trade thing's going to go as far as this streak goes. Because right now we're playing amazing, guys. I know you see it. The team feels it. I mean, Nail Yakupov? That guy's amazing. The energy, the shoot-first mentality is something this team has severely lacked forever. I was a fan that was totally apathetic on the Avalanche, and I have been reinvigorated, full of Burgundy, just pride, to see my team play the way they have. Anyways, boys, I am so drunk right now, and I am just so happy that you guys are going to do a podcast tomorrow, and wish you
he got cut off right there, so he was signing off, but yeah, the the thing goes for 3 minutes, and he took it the distance, because that's the way Louis rolls. Louis is the man. He's been listening to us for a long time. And we love it every time he calls. Every time he calls, he brings some good stuff for us. And man, I think that Louis is a really good example of how Avalanche fans are feeling right now. We've just been, I've seen a lot of those types of comments on Twitter. The whole, I don't understand this winning thing. I'm used to pain and suffering, and it's a nice feeling. And yes, it's 5 games. But it's a nice feeling to see the Avalanche not just being in games, but playing excellent hockey. They didn't just play good games against Boston and Anaheim. They beat the tar out of those teams. Both of those games, neither team had 10 shots through 2 periods, and the Avs had 20 to 30. That's the Avs flipping the script. The Avs were always on the other side of that. Have been that way for the past 4 years. And I like the way he said it feels like that Waugh season, except legitimate, with no smokes and mirrors. And you know, of course, we all loved that one season, and that is exactly what it was. Though it was smoke and mirrors, because the Avalanche were outshot, the Avalanche were outplayed. And they relied on outstanding goalie play and opportunism to win their games. And it's a lot better to rely on scoring a lot of goals because you can, and playing good team hockey as opposed to the other way around.
And finding ways to win games. Here's the thing. They went into the third period of the Rangers game leading by a goal. And they didn't just turtle. They didn't just hold on for dear life. They went into the third period against the Boston Bruins at home, leading by a goal. Or maybe they led by 2.
They were up 4-1.
They didn't. They didn't turtle. Boston got those 2 power play goals to come back, but they still carried the play.
Yep.
This is a team that's not afraid to play with the lead. Too many times last year, when they got a lead, you almost felt like they were waiting for it to go away.
Yep.
Like they were holding on to a dollar bill while they were literally had money spilling out of their pockets. And that's a difference.
Yeah.
And it's a difference of why you have defensemen who can skate. And the Avs have 8 of them on the roster now.
It's nice. And, you know, obviously...
Go
ahead.
They have a guy who's sitting on their roster, or who's in the American Hockey League, Duncan Siemens. He finally got a chance, and legitimately, he did not make the team.
Yep.
Because the other guys were better.
Yep.
What's your favorite play so far of the season?
Man, I think that's got to be Yakupov's first goal in Denver, where it looked that whole play looked like it was going to be a turnover in the defensive zone that was going to be a dangerous chance, and then McKinnon made a good play to kind of put the puck in no man's land, and Yakupov beat Torrey Krug to the puck. Rycroft broke that down on his telestrator, and where he was saying, "I talked to Torrey Krug and he said I just got yacked." That play, and then suddenly it was Yakupov and McKinnon off to the races on a 2-on-1. McKinnon makes
backhand pass to him as well.
Beautiful backhand pass to him. Yakupov just snaps off the one-timer, and Rask can just basically hope that it hits him as he flails towards it the other way. He had no chance on the goal, and then of course Yakupov going Super Saiyan and exploding on in a huge celebration. I think that to this point is my favorite goal.
Oddly enough, my favorite goal also involves Yakupov. My favorite play, where he set up shop in the corner and passed it right to Duchesne for the one-time wrist shot goal.
Mm-hmm.
That was a dime of a pass.
It was
right
perfect.
to where right in Duchesne's wheelhouse, where he didn't even have to settle it down. He just put it up over the goaltender's shoulder and in.
Yep.
So I guess we can say Yakupov is our favorite player so far.
That seems that way. Yakupov has been outstanding to this point in the season, and you just hope that he can continue to carry it. And he's playing like a guy who's not burdened by any expectations anymore. His first season in Edmonton, of course, was that lockout shortened year where he played very, very well. He had 17 goals in those 48 games or something along those lines, and just from there on it kind of fizzled, and he never really got a shot in St. Louis, and now he's just here just playing. He's not playing with any type of huge expectation of being a number one overall guy. He's a guy that's here to basically just to be on an NHL team, and he's enjoying it, and he's playing his game, and he's playing with guys that suit his strengths and who he suits theirs. He's been everything you could expect at this point.
It's almost like he's been freed.
Yeah. So so here, I saw someone, and at what point do you go, if you're Joe Sakic, do you look at, obviously 5 games is too soon. I'm just going to say that right now. But at what point would you say Joe Sakic and company might want to consider getting him under an extension for another couple of years? And like I said, 5 games to me, too early.
Mid-season.
Sounds good.
That at mid-season, it's not an aberration.
Yep. Right on. Well, I don't know about you, man, but I think that's all I got.
That's all she wrote.
Excellent, excellent. Well, the Avalanche and Stars are at intermission right now. The game is still 0-0. You want to get a quick Avs Twitter psychic out there? Since no one scored yet?
Sure. JT Comfer.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
Oh, haha. You should have gone first then.
I should have gone first. Fine. I will change. I will go with the guy who's been doing some excellent work for this team. I'm going to go Sven Andrighetto. And can we again take a moment to appreciate the fact that Joe Sakic got Sven Andrighetto for Andreas Martinson in a 1-for-1 trade?
Yes. All days. Every day.
Let's just feel that a moment and just say, pull that one out whenever anybody likes to come out and say Joe Sakic's the worst GM in hockey. It's like, well, he didn't make this trade, or he did make this trade, but he was on the right side of making this trade.
I'm sorry. Did Vancouver suddenly go out of the NHL? I didn't think Sakic was the greatest, but I also didn't think he was the worst.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know how we in the Avalanche Nation love to overreact. So,
what? What'd you say?
Nothing. I said you're the handsomest man on this podcast.
Yeah, keep that up.
I shall, and I'm going to cut this off while I'm ahead. So, thanks again for listening, ladies and gentlemen. As always, you can check us out on iTunes for the Burgundy Brigade podcast. Download and subscribe over there. We're over on Podbean as well. If you get your podcasts in that location. I'm Kevin. He's Aaron. You can give us a call at 720-477-3762 anytime and leave a message about the Avalanche, about hockey in general, about life in general, and just to say hi, because we love talking with you. That's the Burgundy Brigade hotline. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoy the rest of the Avalanche game and the rest of, and we hope, of course, that the Avalanche keep up this type of play for the rest of the season. Thanks for listening, and we will talk to you guys later. Bye.